Hello, Night Nation. Trace Trelko here. This is the Sons of UCF Live NBA Draft Night Edition. Adam with me. Hello, Adam. How are you?
Trace, I am good. I am excited. This is the first time I think in my UCF fandom I'm tuned into the NBA draft with a UCF connection here. So I'm pretty excited about it.
We should have dressed up like Taylor Hendricks. I don't know if you've been on social media this afternoon, but the guy has shown up in New York in a pink suit. How do you grade the threads for Mr. Hendricks?
That's straight out of the UCF Mike collection. I mean, it looks good. I mean, I give him A minus. I think. I mean, it's a good look. He wears it well. He's obviously a strapping young lad. He's in shape. He's got some personalized pictures sewn into the jacket there. It's a nice touch. Nice look.
Yeah, he was showing that off on social media earlier. Pictures throughout his basketball days. Family in there as well. UCF head basketball coach Johnny Dawkins is there. They just showed him in the pre-draft coverage with Taylor Hendricks, family and friends. So it's going to be an exciting night. And what's exciting for us is we've dispatched two of our Sons of UCF correspondents, Leo Rodriguez and Nate Marrero, who are at Poor Choice Orlando in downtown Orlando. They are part of the fundraiser event now for Kingdom NIL. It's a draft watch party at Poor Choice. Let's see if we can drop in on them so they can set the stage. I see them now. There's Leo, there's Nate. Guys, set the stage for us. What's going on there?
How are you guys doing? I'm not going to lie. The Wi-Fi here is a little bit to be desired. Probably a UCF against USF men's basketball type performance from the Wi-Fi. There's a bit of a delay. There's a puzzled look from Trace, and it's a bit difficult right now, but we'll make it work because that's what we do at the Sons of UCF.
So, guys, where are you expecting Taylor Hendricks to be drafted tonight? Are we going to see him here early on in this hour?
So, yeah, I've already talked to Nate about this. You know, we're kind of seeing him between 6 and 11. Whether Orlando takes him or not too sure. I have him going to the Indiana Pacers, but I feel like the Orlando Magic need to do the right thing and take Taylor at 6.
What about you, Nate?
Yeah, have gone up for Hendricks to Orlando at 6. If they don't take him at 6, he's probably not going to be at 11. The Mavericks will probably take him at 10. I mean, even in just that whole range, 6 to 10, there's no surprise that look
at that. You can use this as a prop to get Leo some cash.
Range.
You picked 6 and 11. The Orlando Magic picked 6 and 11, so perhaps this goes for the hometown team. Nate, set the scene for us. How is the crowd there at Poor Choice Orlando?
It's a crowd, man. You got the basketball team to my left. You got like the Kingdom NIL to like in that corner over there. Spectrum's here. It's a good crowd, and it's a good showing. Hopefully, this is the kind of thing a program can build on. Well, like you said, we got Taylor Hendricks, he's a top 10 pick, and yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to let you guys go for now. Scrounge up some interviews and rejoin us throughout the show. Okay?
Absolutely. We'll be here for you guys.
All right, Leo and Nate, live from Poor Choice Orlando. By the way, Nate asked me if the drinks tab was on me tonight. I said I think there's a Sun's expense account somewhere there.
Our credit should be good with Drew at Poor Choice. Just put it on Trace's tab.
Yeah. Adam, I'm going to rely upon you. You've got the good TV positioning as these picks begin to happen. Again, we're not expecting Taylor Hendricks in that first couple of picks, so we're going to weave in our regular show. And whenever
before I do all that, Trace, I need an important answer from you. So there are some folks on Twitter like Woj or Shams who sometimes will break the picks in advance. If I happen to see the break of the pick before the announcement, you want me to share it with everybody, or do you want to wait until it's announced on the TV? How should we handle that?
I think that our loyal fans who are watching us right now deserve to know that. And so I say break it. Break it here on Suns Live.
Okay. All right. So just fair warning, if I see it on Twitter from somebody reputable, I very well just may share it here before it's on your television. So just FYI to everybody, spoiler alert, earmuffs, whatever you got to do.
How do we know, by the way, that it is reputable now within Twitter? A blue check mark is not what it used to be.
It's a great question. I'm going to have to do some research. I think I got a couple accounts I already preloaded here that I'm kind of toggling between. So I did that work in advance, but no one knows anymore. Who knows?
Do you normally watch the NBA draft, by the way?
Yeah, I'll watch the first couple of picks. Usually there's intrigue on the top. Usually the NBA draft, dissimilar, I think, to the NFL. You get a lot of crazy trades, right? Chris Paul got traded today from the Wizards to the Warriors after he got traded from Phoenix earlier this week. So you got a lot of crazy moves during the draft. So I'll keep an eye on it. But I'm usually like a first 10 pick kind of guy, and then it's usually night time for me.
That sounds like a perfect slot for Taylor Hendricks. Fit nicely within the Sons of UCF time slot here Thursday night, live at 8. Like I said, we're going to weave in our show. We're going to go back to Nate and Leo as they round up interviews. So I'm going to take a mailbag question off the top from our friend JP Gilbert. Over under for Taylor Hendricks' draft position, he's listing it at 8.5. Adam, where are you on this?
All right. I'm taking the under.
Under?
I think 7. I'm going to go 7. I think it's the Pacers at 7 for Taylor Hendricks.
Well, for fun, then, put me down for 9. Put me down for 9. And 9 is the Utah
Jazz. Yeah, the Utah Jazz at 9. Yeah.
They have been mentioned frequently in conversation with him. I'll tell you what, it's been a great deal of publicity for not only Taylor Hendricks, but the UCF basketball brand. It had me thinking a bit, though, that we thought there would be windfall from the 2019 run. And do you feel like we got windfall from that? And do you think that there's going to be windfall from this great night for Taylor Hendricks, that it benefits the long term for UCF men's basketball?
I mean, yeah, I have the advantage of having 3 years post 2019 to say it. There clearly wasn't a large windfall from that team. It was a pretty steep drop off. COVID hit, and I think a lot of things kind of put stuff in a tailspin. So 3 years removed, I think we can all say, no, we didn't get that windfall. Look, we, talking to Kobe Price last week from, I guess, still with the Orlando Sentinel, maybe in LA yet. I'm not sure his exact job
I think this is his last official event is covering NBA draft.
All right, still with the Orlando Sentinel, Kobe Price, and he mentioned like kids are going to see Taylor Hendricks' name attached to UCF. UCF's brand's going to be out there. There's probably a handful of people tonight who are going to learn that Johnny Dawkins is still coaching college basketball and is coaching at UCF, and so I think publicity cannot hurt, and UCF basketball has not had a ton of positive publicity over the past, probably since that game against Duke in the tournament. So this cannot hurt. I think it's a good step in the right direction, but we'll see, what that bears fruit in the end.
Well, and they're leveraging, of course, they have Coach Dawkins there amongst others in the entourage from UCF, a great social media presence. So they're certainly trying to generate as much publicity as they possibly can around the Taylor Hendricks pick.
Yeah, look, I mean, not for the selfish reason, but it helps UCF. But again, this is a really cool moment, right? This is historic for us here at UCF. The first time we're going to have, a player in the NBA draft, picked at this level. And I thought it was really cool. I saw the video on social media where, they were asking some of the football guys to figure out where Taylor was going to get picked. And, you saw a lot of love from all that stuff too. So I think it's cool the way everybody's kind of rallying around this and, is excited about it. I think it hasn't happened in our UCF lifetime. So this is a really cool event.
I think that's why I'm also selfishly hoping that the Magic are in play here, because I think it would just be a great local publicity, and you could see the synergy between the two programs. I know we're going to be going back to Leo and Nate at Poor Choice Orlando, but I've heard now we've got a very special guest dropping in to the Sons of UCF Live. Is that true? He is the one, the only.
Yep.
Eric
Taylor
Lopez.
Hendricks was not available, but we got the next best thing, ladies and gentlemen.
Eric Lopez, the voice of UCF softball, well, the voice of a lot of things on ESPN Plus. Elo, thanks for being with us. I know you're a big NBA guy, so you're a draft watching kind of guy. You like this night, don't you?
It's a weird night because we got a UCF player involved, so I'm actually on. As soon as Adam breaks the story of where he's going, I will be off. I'll be writing an article about it. So I'll give you, Adam, credit. Although I warn you, Woj has already gone on record of saying he will not tip the picks, which I don't believe 100%.
Yeah,
is that real Woj, or is that one of the many Woj's with check marks now?
This was he was on the Ryan Vassillo podcast and said he was not going to do that. It's kind of beneath him was the way he phrased it. Shams is doing some sort of live show on Stadium. So I don't know what he's
they copy
doing.
your idea. Everybody's doing live shows tonight.
I've heard that, Eric. But you've been around UCF sports for as long as anybody. Put in context, how big a deal is this, right? It's the NBA draft. We have no idea what Taylor Hendricks' NBA future looks like, but the fact that our name, one of the guys who wore the black and gold, is on this stage tonight, how big a deal is that?
I think it's very significant. We've never seen this before. I mean, I covered Jermaine Taylor when he got drafted in the second round. I went to Tavares. He had a party out there. It was me and here, I'll give you a name, David Bauman from the old TV days, Orlando State Trace. David Bauman.
Yeah.
And we went all the way up there to cover Tavares, and it was huge. It was we thought there was a chance he might go late first round, but instead he's going early. He went second round. But that was huge. I mean, Taylor's only going to be the third UCF basketball player ever to be drafted in the NBA draft. Benny Shaw in 1976 was drafted in the 9th round. Jermaine, and now Taylor. We're not a blue blood in basketball. I know some fans apparently think they are. That's why they're all upset when we don't win 20 games, every game. But I think this is significant because I think from a recruiting standpoint, I think UCF's done a good job of taking advantage of this. Now, if you're a UCF basketball, you can go out there and say, you know what? You can come here and you could be a lottery pick. You could be a first-round draft pick. You don't have to go to the Kansas and the Kentuckys of the world. And as UCF embarks into the Big 12, they're going to need multiple guys that are potential lottery picks or first-round picks or just being drafted, period, in the NBA if they want to compete in the Big 12. So I think this is significant for this program.
Ithel, as expected, Victor Wembanyama has officially been picked by the Spurs' #1 overall pick, Victor Wembanyama.
What do you expect from him in the NBA, Elo, and how transformative can he be for San Antonio?
Well, I mean, look, the skill set is tremendous. The foreign players, if we saw in the NBA Finals, unfortunately, Adam and I got to see it really close with how incredible Jokic is. The big men in the foreign countries are much more skilled than they are in the States, which is a fascinating topic in itself. And Wembanyama is as skilled as anybody, and he's 7'5". My only question is, 7'5" guys tend to get hurt. They're too because they're big. Can he stay healthy? I think that's the only question. But every scout believes that he's the best scout prospect since LeBron James. So we'll see. Can he handle the NBA 82-game landscape? He's at the right franchise because Greg Popovich is the master of resting guys and load management. But he is legit. He's the guy that teams were trying to tank for this year, including the Magic, who failed at doing that.
Well, first pick off the board, he's walking to the podium, and we go back to Poor Choice, Orlando. Leo with Ben Witherspoon, a special assistant to head coach Johnny Dawkins. Nate there as well. Welcome back, guys. Who do you have?
Hey, we got Ben Witherspoon, special assistant to UCF. He just finished his first year as a special assistant. What was that like for you, Ben?
This year was great. Coach Dawkins is one of the best to ever do this, going to College Basketball Hall of Fame. Has obviously learned, from the best and Coach K at Duke. High-level person, high-level coach. So I was excited, obviously, to come to UCF and work so closely with him. And then, obviously we had a good year. Taylor being a first one and done in UCF history is great. Playing in the NIT is great. Having a chance to play Florida in that first round, beat them against two of my former players, it's a great experience. Everything's just been awesome at UCF. So looking forward to what's to come for us, and going to the Big 12 will be a big challenge, but looking forward to it.
What was it like to coach Taylor Hendricks?
Incredibly easy. Taylor is just an easy guy to coach. Me and him had a great relationship. He listens. He works hard. The easiest thing with Taylor is you don't have to worry about your approach too much because it's consistent. He's the same dude every day. Doesn't go up and down and waver in his mood and his effort. Great game, bad game, made shots, didn't make shots, turned it over, didn't turn it over. Taylor was the same guy every day. And that's going to be a big part of his success in the NBA. Playing so many games, 82 games a year, you're not going to play well every night. But you got to bring the same effort. You got to bring the same approach to your work, same attitude every day, and that's just who he is, and that's what he's going to do.
Ben, I kind of want to ask you a little bit about Taylor's game and what you admire about it and how you've taken it as a learning experience on your first year of coaching.
Obviously, Taylor is a big-time NBA prospect because of his size and athleticism and his ability to shoot the ball. He's going to be great playing alongside guys until he develops into a big-time player in his own right, because he's going to be able to space the floor, pick and pop guy, pick and roll guy, can finish lobs, dunks, can take advantage of mismatches. But what I was, blown away by with Taylor when I got there, because I coached against Taylor in high school, his senior year. I coached against him. I had no idea how skilled he was. Footwork, both hands in the paint, his mid-post game, and just the level of skill he has, and then the range he shoots the ball. Taylor's actually more comfortable shooting from NBA range than the college line. In workouts, he would back up. There's no defense there when he's shooting, but he would back up because he's just more comfortable shooting from there. So his overall skill level, man, was just something I was surprised by. And early on, we kind of saw if he gets a lot of opportunity, he gets a lot of minutes, this could happen.
And obviously, all the talk, the projections of where he's going to go. What do you think? What team fits him best, or where do you think he's going to land?
I'm a hometown Orlando guy, so obviously I would love to have Taylor on the Magic, because I think he would absolutely help them. But it's looking like the Magic are leaning more towards the guard, which is understandable with the length they already have at that position and the forwards they already have. I know he won't get past 11. I think the Pacers, if they don't make any trades and move things around, I think they're going to take him at 7, but we'll see what happens. But he'll be great wherever he goes because of what he brings to the table offensively, defensively, and the person he is. The character things, man, talking to his NBA scouts, it was such an easy conversation. I really didn't have much to say.
There you guys have it from Ben Witherspoon.
One more question from me, guys, if you could ask Coach, how has he seen the program benefit from all the publicity that has surrounded Taylor Hendricks in the last couple of weeks?
How have you seen the program benefit from all the publicity surrounding Taylor Hendricks during the draft process?
Yeah. It's definitely made a difference in recruiting as far as guys hearing about Taylor and the development that Coach Dawkins and the staff did with him. It's just bringing great attention to what can happen when you choose the right program with the right opportunity, with a staff that cares about you, and all those things. So it's been great for recruiting for us to just let the next batch of players know that you can do anything from right here at UCF.
All right, Coach Ben Witherspoon with Nate and Leo at Poor Choice Orlando. Guys, we'll get back to you in a little bit. Thanks a lot.
It's pretty cool to hear from somebody who knows Taylor Hendricks pretty well and someone who's had a big role in his development.
I'm impressed with you guys' budget, by the way. Props on your budget here. Going up, you're going remote, you're all over the place here.
It's going to cost Trace like 3 beers at Poor Choice.
Yeah,
but I think we can fit it in.
My tab.
Yeah, we can fit that in there. Eric, I asked this last week of Kobe. I know you watch a ton of NBA basketball. Do you have an NBA comp for Taylor Hendricks? Does his game remind you of anybody that you kind of see in the league already today?
It's a good question, right? It's the stretch 4. That's the new term, right? That's why Taylor's so up here, like the stretch 4. I feel like he could be a little bit of an Antoine Jamison with a more length, who could block shots. Maybe I think because he could shoot from the perimeter. That's why he's going to go high here. Is because and I think a team like Dallas would actually be a great fit for him with Luka and company there. But it's hard to say who it's a great fit because I'm kind of intrigued how he develops over the years. I mean, the NBA draft has changed over the years. It used to be you take the best players that were ready now. Now they're taking potential. So a lot of this will depend on where does he go? How do the teams feel they fit him? But I would say and a Jamison type. I mean, did you have somebody in mind, Adam? I mean, I was trying to a Kevin Love, more athletic Kevin Love maybe could be a ceiling there.
Yeah, I mean, I think what sets him apart though is his defense, right? I think, and no disrespect to Kevin Love, but I think Taylor's size and athleticism is greater than that. Brandon Miller from Alabama, number 2 overall to the Charlotte Hornets. So Wembanyama and Miller off the board. Number 3. That means
Scoot Henderson. That probably means Scoot Henderson's going to go to Portland. And now the big question there is: does Damian Lillard? Does he tell Portland time's up? It's time to move. Let's go.
Plenty of spots.
Elo, at what point during the past UCF men's basketball season did you really feel like we'd be at this point tonight talking about Taylor Hendricks on NBA draft night?
Probably halfway through this past. I never thought this day would come. Not going to lie. I mean, remember how excited we were? We're like thinking maybe Taco might get drafted or not. That's, I didn't even think Taylor would get this high until halfway through the year when I was going to games and scouts were there and people were saying, yeah, he's moving up. He could be first round. I'm like, really? So to be honest with you, this past year, halfway through the year, as more people were talking, NBA people were talking, I'm like, wow, this could actually happen. Up prior to that, never would have thought this was even remotely being close. And, credit to Coach Dawkins for landing Taylor Hendricks. And really the way, again, he's handled this from the beginning with obviously advising him and coaching him. This past year, honestly, Trace, this is still surreal for me. I don't think it didn't really hit me until today, honestly, like that this was actually going to possibly happen. There's still a part of me that wonders, is he going to drop? You know what I mean? Like it reminds me a little bit. Remember when Blake Bortles went to the Jaguars? I remember I was in Houston with softball. And everybody was talking up Blake Bortles, and I kind of didn't believe he would go super high until he actually got his name called. And I remember I was on the bus with the softball team, and Blake's name popped up, and the whole bus just went nuts. Actually, we were in the restaurant. And it just went nuts. And that's kind of how I feel about this. I don't think it really hit me until his name gets called here in a little bit.
Well, we saw him go from mid-20s conversation, low teens, and then just kept moving up the board. Jay Billis has him 6th on his list. So we saw that ascension throughout the season as he really established himself with UCF during conference play.
Trace, let's head back for you instantly. Let's head back to our good friends at Poor Choice who have wrangled up another fantastic guest. Let's go back to Leo and Nate.
With who we got there, Leo and Nate. I recognize that guy.
We are here with Darius Johnson, point guard for the UCF Knights. And we're going to talk to him a little bit about Taylor and, what it was like to play with him and everything in between. So, Darius, it's a pleasure to be with you. Kind of talk to us how it was like to play with Taylor and, how excited are you for your teammate?
It was great playing with Taylor. I think it's definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Ever since Taylor got to UCF, I knew he was going to be special. And each and every day he showed that he grew. His talent level just up to par with the guys in college. He got better every single day. There was never any wasted days with him. It's a great opportunity for him and his family. I think it's very special what's going on with him.
And as far as a person, can you talk a little bit as a teammate? Because obviously coaches talk good about him, but as a person, what can you say?
He's a very funny guy. He's cool. He doesn't do too much. His mom raised him very well. He's a very good kid. Like
you were his roommate, right?
No, I wasn't his roommate. But both of them are great. Tyler and Taylor, they're actually a little bit opposites. Taylor's more outgoing. Tyler's a little bit of the shy one, but once they get to know you, they're both great kids.
Was there a particular moment that stood out to you with Taylor where you realized he had the potential to become this good and be a potential top 10 pick?
I always knew he had the potential. He once in a lifetime talent. 6'9". He can shoot the 3 ball. He's very athletic and block shots. So it was no surprise. I was shocked that everyone else underestimated him. He went from being undrafted, then he worked his way into being a first rounder, and now he's in the talks of being in the top 10. So this is a great experience. It shows that the cream always rises to the top.
Is there a particular team you want to see him go to, a team that'd be the best fit for him?
I don't really think that's going to matter with Taylor. He's a hard-working kid. He's going to do whatever it takes to get on the floor, and it's all about winning. So I think any team that gets him will be lucky to have him.
I guess last question. Are you guys moving to the Big 12? How can Taylor's performance and being a top 10 pick, how can it help elevate the program?
I think it's going to elevate the program in a great way. Now the school got some more buzz. One of the first time anyone's been picked lottery from UCF. So this is a great experience. Now he's bringing more attention to us.
Thank you so much, and back to you guys.
All right, a question for you, Nate, before Darius leaves, or he's leaving. My question was, what does he know about all the new guys that are arriving as part of the men's basketball team?
So you guys have gotten a few transfers. What are those guys like, and how are they blending in with the team?
It's really great so far. We've been doing a lot of team bonding, a lot of pickup basketball. And we're still down a few guys. We still have some guys coming in late. They got to graduate from other schools and stuff like that. But it seems like everyone's gelling together so far. I think it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to this season.
All right. Thank you, Darius, Leo, and Nate. We'll be back to you guys in a bit.
Guys are on fire. While we were away, Scoot Henderson, pick number 3 to Portland. Eric Lopez rejoins us now, Eric. So this puts Damian Lillard in play. So we can watch this one.
This is now the Blazer story begins there because Damian Lillard. Do you want to play with a young kid at Scoot Henderson and the rebuild at Portland, or do you ask for a trade? And Miami could be in the mix there, Brooklyn, Philly. So that's what everybody's been waiting for as far as NBA prospective league insiders are concerned. But so that's a big story there. So now that we know the top 3 is done, now the draft gets interesting. This is now where it gets wild because now this is where a lot of people don't really know what to happen here. So really, the Taylor Hendricks watch kind of begins now. Even though I know a lot of the draft stuff has him going 6 to 11, you just never know if a team takes him earlier than expected or later. This is now where the unpredictability kind of begins.
You know, we were talking about earlier the impact of the 2019 season. Was there much of one on UCF men's basketball? As you look back on that, how do you see the impact of that season, and how do you hope that this Taylor Hendricks pick can help the future of UCF men's basketball?
Well, I wonder. I don't know if we ever did ask Taylor Hendricks, if one of us asked him, like, hey, did you follow UCF in 2019? Like, if 2019 doesn't happen, does Taylor Hendricks still come here? I don't know. We'll have to ask him the next time we talk to him, probably in an NBA locker room in a big pregame.
Maybe at a press conference on Friday in Orlando.
Whoa, there you go. A little tease there. Could be. That's right. That's a good point. So I think that's a factor. I think it's had an impact into the standpoint now where people have high expectations now that, people are now disappointed when you're going to the NIT. So that's the impact. I think Taylor's impact, as I mentioned earlier, is I think this could open the door for more talented players for UCF to go to UCF and say, you know what, I can go to UCF, whether it be guys staying in the state or whatever, as UCF goes to the Big 12, because they're going to need talent to compete in the Big 12. And I think Taylor Hendricks could be that guy that his legacy at UCF is going to be more for tonight than anything he did on the court. I think tonight is his legacy for UCF basketball more than anything he did on the court because he was only here a year. But his legacy will be more about tonight because I think he's opening doors for future UCF players to get drafted in the NBA draft.
Men's basketball Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
One and done.
So, I mean, we're going to have to get used to this, right? With transfer portals and everything, the days of...
I hope UCF is going to get used to the one and done. I hope we're doing this kind of thing on Thursday once a year.
It's interesting to me because for me, I mean, selfishly, I'm excited because I got to call 2 basketball games this year, filling in on the radio. So
what was the record?
2-0. 2-0. Thank you. With a win over FSU, by the way. And Wichita. But the cool thing is now I get to say that I called a game of a lottery pick potentially. So that's kind of cool from a selfish standpoint. Mount Rushmore, I think Jermaine has to be in there. Bo Clark has to be in there, right? Would you agree with that? Bo Clark, Jermaine Taylor has to be in there.
Well, there's a divide in the fan base that doesn't count the originals, the old time guys.
Well, then they did exist. I'm sorry to break it to them. In fact, I'm hoping to have next week coming out with a big feature on the article side of Black and Gold Banner about a lot of UCF athletes.
Shameless plug for the competition.
Well, right. I didn't know you guys wrote.
Well, speaking of that, one of the things that I like that you write, and you did it a couple of years ago, I know you're in the process of working on it now, are the top athletes in UCF history. Where do you see Taylor Hendricks working his way into that men's athletes list?
Well, I think what kind of NBA career does he have? I think that's the big question. Does he have a nice NBA role player career? Is he an all-star? Does it not pan out for him? Is he like right now? Because he's got he could, worst case scenario, he could be Chad Mottola. For those that don't know, Chad Mottola was the highest draft pick ever in baseball. Got drafted before Derek Jeter. Unfortunately, that's what he's known for as far as his playing career, because his playing career didn't materialize in the pros. But now he's doing a great job as a hitting coach with the Rays. So it really depends. Is Hendricks' career going to be of a one that blossoms in the NBA, or is he going to be a trivia question? It's like, hey, he went before blank. But from a UCF standpoint, it doesn't matter because the point from a UCF standpoint is we got a guy in the first round. And that's why Hendricks will be on the Mount Rushmore because he opened this door. I think it's, to answer your question, it's Jermaine, Bo Clark, probably Taco / BJ if we can share. Because I can't.
You're sharing noggins on Mount Rushmore.
I mean, you can't talk about Taco without talking about BJ. You can't talk about BJ without Taco. That's just, it's just, to me, they're tandem. But I think Taylor's in that mix for that, and that's the impact. Like I said, with tonight, hopefully he has a great NBA career, and when people watch him, they think of UCF, and recruits think of UCF.
Let's assume Taylor gets picked 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that range tonight. What's the first thing you want Johnny Dawkins doing tomorrow?
Calling recruits and show him, hey, look, I'm at Barclays. He probably is doing that tonight. If he's allowed to, call him Barclays and say, hey, look at this draft room. It's pretty nice over here. I got this guy over here. So you guys could be the next guy. That's what I would do if I'm Johnny Dawkins, is show him right now. And I get that's why he's out there with Taylor, which is smart. All these coaches, man, Calipari, they all do it. That's why they do it. This is basically a recruiting for UCF. This is the, remember how we talked about the 2017 national title and all the stats about all the, revenue or the money, quote unquote, by all the advertising, free advertising that brought. This is free advertising for UCF basketball, without question.
Weave a little in of around the kingdom. Going to get lost a little in the news today. Team USA softball. Jada Cody back with Team USA. August 4 through 7. Going to be playing 3-city All-Star Series against world ranked number 2 Japan. What's the impact for her career at UCF benefiting from an experience like this?
Second year in a row that she's with the U.S. national team, the only UCF softball player to ever play on the U.S. national team. Her goal is to make the Olympics in 28. She's on the track for that, which, again, no UCF softball player has ever made the Olympics. So she's a versatile player, which USA softball loves. It gives her more experience in the international game, which could pay off for her down the road because she's going to play after this next year at UCF. She's going to play pro. She's going to continue to play internationally. And I think you hope from her standpoint, she'll be with all the collegians, that she just gains more experience and confidence when she comes back for her final year at UCF and has a big year to go out on top. I know, you asked me, could this backfire, from a wear and tear? I don't think so, because she's gone through this now. Maybe last year it did, because she played in Japan and played in the tournament in Guatemala. There was 2 tournaments that she played in. Did that affect her? Who knows? She still had a good year. It just wasn't the year prior to the year because the standards are so high. I don't think that'll be the case. I think she now knows the routine. I think she'll be comfortable. And again, more free publicity for UCF. Head coach Sydney Ball-Malone's the assistant on the national team. You got which will be this summer in Ireland. And then you've got Jada Cody playing in the fall there in Japan. This is all good publicity for UCF for softball as they go to the Big 12 and help from a recruiting standpoint.
What's the rowing equivalent of home run hire for Mara Allen, new UCF rowing coach? What's the rowing term that's appropriate for that? 4-time national champion, 2 as an assistant coach at Texas, 2 as a student athlete at California.
It's an impressive hire. I don't know. I'm not a rowing guy.
I'm not a rowing guy. Adam, can you type that out?
I'll clip it. I got
you put that? Can you put that there? I'm not.
You could ask her. You could ask Bryson Turner. He's the rowing expert that we go to for rowing analysis.
Let's bring in Bryson Turner.
But I will say this. I mean, it's an impressive hire based on the resume, right? I mean, Texas, they won a couple national titles, big name player there. I mean, this is apparently from people that I know that follow this stuff very closely. One of them being Christina Sarf, who's a UCF Athletic Hall of Fame rower. I defer to her. I asked her, what did you think? And she says, this is a pretty impressive hire for UCF. So I'll take her words for it over mine for sure. So hopefully it works out. Busy few months for Terry Mahadras. Had to hire a rowing coach, a baseball coach, volleyball coach that, something happened there. I don't know. So.
All right, Adam, update us. Another pick off the board.
Yeah, Amen Thompson goes to Houston at 4. He of the overtime elite squad. So Detroit now on the clock. So top 4 holds as expected. Most mocks had this top 4 as is right now. So nothing on the board here. Detroit and then Orlando's first pick is right after that. So the intrigue just beginning, friends.
Elo, you follow the Magic, of course. You've done reporting with them as well. How important do you think it is for them to keep 6 and 11 and really build something in Orlando?
Well, their young roster. Some would argue that maybe they shouldn't take 2 young guys, that maybe they have too many young guys, that maybe they need some veterans. So some would say maybe they should trade the pick or not. I think they need backcourt help. That's why I don't think they're going to take Hendricks at 6, because I think they're going to go backcourt. I'm just not sold on Cole Anthony and Markelle Fultz if you want to be serious playoff contender, although maybe I shouldn't talk with a team that just got to the finals with Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. But nonetheless, I think the backcourt is certainly something the Magic need there. But, they need to hit on somebody here to be pretty good. Because remember, a couple years ago, they took the Okiki kid from Auburn, and he's been a bust. So they hit with Banchero to their defense. They hit well with Banchero, and I'll make Trace defense because obviously, Trace, I get the sense you want the Magic to take Hendricks.
Selfishly so.
Because you want to just have a reason to have credentials to cover.
I want a reason for media coverage. Yes, I want a reason to talk about it. He ends up in Utah. I mean, that stuff happens after Sons of UCF Live goes off the air. We're never talking about that. We're not watching any Utah Jazz while we're with the show.
Unless you're in Provo for that UCF BYU football game or basketball, make a double tip.
Well, there's a lot of ifs.
I will say this: if the Magic decide to go front court. He does fit from the standpoint he could shoot from the perimeter. He'd be a good complement to Banchero. The question for the Magic, though, is the problem is they have too many front court guys. What are they going to do with Jonathan Isaac? What are they going to do with you got Wendell Carter there. You got Wagner there, the Wagner boys. So I don't know if there's room for him, ironically enough, there. But the Magic have done different things. I mean, I'm like you. I'm a little selfish in that. Obviously, if he's here with the Magic, I have a lot of access to the Magic game. So that would be beneficial from a content standpoint. But I don't think it'll happen. But, we'll see what the Magic end up doing.
Speaking of access, let's go back to Poor Choice Orlando. Leo and Nate with the man behind Poor Choice, Drew Belani, now joining us.
Yeah, hello. We're here at Drew Belani. How are you doing? What's it like to host an event like this? Hendricks might be a top 10 pick and make history, and it's at your place.
You know what? This is awesome. For UCF, this is a big thing. Having a lottery pick in basketball, obviously, people who know me, I grew up in the shadow of St. John's in New York. Big basketball guy. For me, this is amazing. To have a lottery pick from UCF is one of the things I always hope for. I'm excited. I'm glad. Let's go. Go nice. Charge on.
So you graduated twice from UCF. Does that make this even more special for you to host it?
That's just me getting a lot of money to UCF, more than I should. That's what it is. But it means a lot. Again, I'm a basketball fan. It's what I played. I was a basketball player growing up in high school. And, I'm so excited this is happening tonight. So thank you guys for coming out tonight. And this is a great event. So, Drew, what are your hopes of this basketball program moving forward? This is a big-time thing for our basketball program. So what are your hopes? It's going to be tough. Obviously being the Big 12, you got a lot of big programs competing against. In my opinion right now, I think what we need to do is focus on, first of all, is this whole NIL thing. What SJ is doing right now with NIL is huge. We need to make sure we go out there and get the best players possible here at our program. At that point, for us, listen, if we can go 15-15 our first year or go 500, I'm telling you, that is a step up. But Orlando is a great place to be. So for a lot of recruits who are, debating between, Manhattan, Kansas, or Iowa, some places, come to Orlando, be here, play here. Why not? I'm really hoping. I think I'm very positive. I think UCF in the long term will be fine and be great. The fifth pick is on the board. Looks like we'll be waiting a bit for Taylor, but Asad Thompson is off the board with the Detroit Pistons.
Leo, ask Drew where he wants to see Taylor. Does he want him to stay here in Orlando?
So, where would you like to see Taylor drafted? Where do I want to see him drafted, or what's going to happen? Where do you want to see him? Well, it'd be awesome if he goes to the Magic. Keep him local, keep him home. But, I know there's a lot of talk right now about Indiana picking him, so we'll see. But you know what? I think if you're Orlando, you got to look at it. You got to think of his possibility. So I know the Magic have a lot of players that have similar skill sets. But, again, he's a hometown hero. And I think for them right now, where they're building all young players, you get Taylor Hendricks, it's part of that puzzle.
Before we let Drew go, have Drew talk a little bit about Poor Choice Orlando, the concept, where folks can find him.
Yeah, talk a little bit about Poor Choice and the concept and where we find you on everything.
So Poor Choice is one of the rare concepts we have right now that is self-pour beer, right? You walk into our bar, you go ahead and you don't worry about lines, you don't worry about tabs. Come in here, you pour your own drink, and you go out there and you do what we're doing right now. Converse, have a good time, and enjoy the environment. So you can find us on Instagram, Poor Choice Tap Room on Instagram. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're everywhere. So again, the biggest thing about what we do is that we're all about community, we're about local beer culture, and celebrate local.
All right. Thank you, Drew, Leo, and Nate. We'll see you guys in a bit. Adam, have you been to Poor Choice? Yeah.
No, actually I haven't. You and I were supposed to go there for an event and it didn't quite work out, and we ended up staring at each other at the Celeste instead, but I have not yet made it.
Have Nate and Leo been taking Leo seems to be looking at who's talking while Nate seems to be, looking up at the monitor.
They can it's really hard because I can see them still in the green room, so I can see all the shenanigans, what they're doing. They're grabbing people. There's a little chat going on about who's there, risen somebody up. It's tough to stay concentrated on the draft and listen to what you two are talking about and then watch these two. That's a show within itself right there.
All right, Elo, Amen Thompson, Star Thompson, Overtime Elite. Tell us about that.
G League, yeah. Thompson twins gone. That's the new developmental league, that the NBA are playing, guys are playing instead of playing in college. And, we'll see. That not too much. I'm not going to pretend I follow G League. You know me, Trace. I don't follow I don't watch a second of USFL or other nonsense.
Elo's he's a big three fan, Trace. He's more into the big three with Ice Cube.
I just follow Adam's breakdown of the big three basketball.
Yeah. So the Magic are on the clock. For those not keeping track, the Magic are on the clock. The TV indicates that the pick is in. And so we'll see what that looks like.
I'm waiting for you, Adam. You're my Woj tonight. I'm not looking at Twitter. You're the pressure's
Leo
on
actually, I was just looking. Leo actually has it in the chat too. He's got Anthony Black going to Orlando.
I called it. Black, Arkansas guard. That's the pick there, and that was who I thought the Magic would take. And I think look for the Magic. I think to shop Cole Anthony or some of their guards to make room. But that I'm not surprised. I had Black going to the Magic at 6. Indiana. This is where a lot of people have Hendricks going to be a fit with Miles Turner and play under Rick Carlisle. So we'll see if this is now. We're in Taylor Hendricks. He could go at any moment here. So we'll see what happens.
Indiana really pushed out a lot of social media content when he worked out for them. They really were all in on talking about him.
Yes. Do you think, let me ask you about this, Trace, and you in particular, will there be any backlash from UCF fans on the Magic for passing on Taylor Hendricks?
This is the UCF Twitter mafia that bashed former UCF quarterback Mackenzie Milton over a 24-hour period of time. So, yes, yes, of course they will. Yes, there will be a portion that are not happy about it.
Yeah, I think, though, if you're a Magic fan, you're a Magic fan, right? You'll be displeased that they didn't pick. Are you going to stop watching the games? Are you going to stop going to the games? If you're a lifelong Magic fan, you're going to be pissed off for tonight. But you're going to get over it. And by the time the season starts, you'll be mad at somebody else for something they did, and you'll forget all about Taylor Hendricks. Now, if he becomes an NBA Hall of Famer, then sure, you're going to be a lot more upset. But I think this is one I think Magic fans will get over. I think everybody who's following this knew that Taylor at 6 to Orlando was a bit of a reach. I think it's that 11 pick. For some reason, he falls to 11. I think that's where he's in play for Orlando. But it's really just about can he get that far? Can Willie drop that far? But I think Magic fans will get over it in short time.
Well, Elo, there's always been a good relationship between UCF and the Magic, but what's the overlap of the fan bases, right? And how could
they're different.
UCF?
Right. This is not like football where you could follow both. I mean, a lot of nights the Magic home games go up against UCF games as well. I mean, I know that for a fact. Having covered Magic games, I've had to miss UCF games in the past because of that. So the fan bases are different. I think the Magic's, and the Magic fan knows what they need from a roster. They might disagree with the pick, but it's not necessarily because, hey, they wanted the hometown guy. Now, I'm sure there's that UCF/Magic fan that was hoping for Hendricks. So, but, like Adam said, I think, to be honest, 6 would have been a bit of a reach, but it is what it is. The interesting thing is Walker from Houston is another guy that Hendricks is going up against here. So he's available right now. He's the Houston one that beat Hendricks for the freshman of the year in the American. which a lot of UCF people were upset
Robbery.
about.
Robbery.
There you go. Well, maybe Hendricks gets the last laugh if he goes before him in the draft. That's going to be interesting now that I'm kind of monitoring this.
Walker's dropped a little bit. Walker was in that 4-5 range. I think Asur Thompson jumps up to there. So does Walker now become in play for Indiana at 7, right? So you're about to find out how quickly NBA scouts think of those two individuals right now. Obviously, a little bit different skill set. I think Hendricks plays the perimeter better than Walker does, but you're about to find out pretty quickly what NBA scouts think of that too. So screen still showing the pick is in for Orlando. So Indiana, I believe, should be in the clock at this point. So the countdown begins. The Taylor Hendricks zone is starting. Yeah, they do. They should just let us do this, Elo.
Elo, earlier this week, UCF announced football season tickets sold out. Question for you. What do you expect in terms of men's basketball season tickets? You see a bump there. I know we could see a bump in crowds, as we don't know that Big 12 schedule, but if a Kansas were to come to the arena, you could see a bump there in crowd. But do you think the season tickets get a bump?
Election night. That's good life. That was really good. I will say this. The problem is we don't know the schedule. I mean, granted, it may not be up to UCF that the schedule is not out yet. I think we'll see a bump, though, once we see the schedule, right? Because we want to know, is Kansas coming here or are they not coming here?
Elo, I have a Shams tweet here.
Here we go.
Indiana is selecting Bilal Kulabe and trading him to Washington. So it looks like Taylor not going to go 7.
Wow. Washington just keeps making trades, everybody. Who knows what they're trading? So I think the answer, Trace, is let's see what the basketball schedule looks like. And it's not like football. I think football, we already have known the schedule. It's the Big 12. I think some people are going to wait to see what the schedule looks like, but I would think there's a bump. I mean, especially if you have a Kansas coming in, a Baylor coming in. I expect I know this, talking to people, there's going to be a bump in the attendance for softball next year. Once that schedule comes out, you'll understand why.
I don't know. Maybe a certain team's coming to town.
Yeah,
pretty good at softball.
What you're talking about, Trace? You're just,
but so I seem to be dominating things.
I do expect a lot of bump. I mean, even smaller sports like a volleyball. I think with Texas, the defending national champions coming here, I do think there will be a bump in attendance. It has to be.
Do you see this as renewed interest on the part of UCF fans? I think we know that the alums of these programs in the Big 12 are going to have interest, right, in coming out and seeing their team in person in town. Do you think the typical UCF fan is a little more energized to see that it's Kansas on the schedule instead of Tulsa coming to the arena?
I think we're right. It's that year one, right? Remember the year one of the American? It was excitement. Like, oh, this is fresh. This is different. Yes, I think year one.
And those were the big brand names compared to what UCF was playing prior conferences.
Correct. So I think for every sport, there's going to be that renewed interest. I know in talking to people at UCF, they expect that. I think this last year was more of a lame duck year. And I think we saw that at times, a bit of a lull where we're like, oh, can we just get this over with? Yes, I think every sport will get a bump. And I think basketball will be included in that. I think basketball will get a bump because of the intrigue of, wow, you get to see, a Kansas, a Baylor, if they come here for the first time. That is going to be significant. Now, I know the point you're making, Trace, is how many UCF fans will come to the building versus the opponent, right? Because the opponents are definitely going to bring some fans. But I do think there will be some casual UCF. Like, Adam, you live in Jackson, but I could see you trying to make the effort to come to a UCF basketball game against, for example, a Baylor or Kansas than you would, if it was East Carolina on a similar day. I mean, that's redundant, but I could see, right? I mean, you're more the person that would qualify for this question.
Yeah, I'm more likely to do that. Actually, I got a phone call today from UCF Tickets telling me that as a football season ticket holder, they are offering some special package. I could get basketball tickets. So clearly they're working the phones on draft day. But somebody else who's working the phones, Trace, and not the phones, is Leo and Nate. And they've corralled somebody else, a face some of you around here may remember. One BJ Taylor is now.
BJ Taylor, who really got his launch on Sons of UCF Live. Guys, back to you.
We got our CBS basketball analyst, BJ Taylor, with us. Former Knight as well. So, BJ, tell us, Taylor Hendricks, what do you see in his game, and where do you think he's bound to go?
Yeah, man. Well, the first thing you have to love about Taylor is that he's going to be such a good teammate in the NBA. I think we saw that at UCF. He was really the epitome of somebody who starred in his role. A lot of plays weren't called for him exclusively, but he was still able to shine. So for him at the next level, you got to be excited about what he's going to bring to any team that he goes to just because he's a guy who doesn't need to take all the shots. You don't have to run stuff for him, and he's still going to be effective.
Throughout the season, when did you really start seeing Taylor's draft stock kind of rise? Not just by the talk of the NBA, but by you.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, really honestly, I went to a summer workout last year, and I said, this guy is going to be a top pick. He had the versatility, he had the skill set, but then when I saw, like I just mentioned, what kind of teammate he was, I knew he'd be really good at the next level. But as the season progressed, you saw his play continue to rise, and the biggest moments against Houston, against Memphis, he played some of his best games. So for a guy to continue to play at that level as a freshman, that says a lot about his basketball character and really his overall skill set.
So obviously we're on pick number 8 right now. Is there a particular team you think he's the best fit with? And like, how does his game translate to the NBA?
Yeah, so I mean, for him, I can't go with a specific team. All the teams that are picking right now between 8 and 11, you look at the Utah Jazz and what they bring to the table, the versatility they have in their lineup right now, he'd be a great fit there. But for him, like I said, he's really a plug-and-play guy because he brings so much to the table, right? If you need a guy to spot up, shoot, be a stretch 4, stretch 5, he can do that. If you need someone to rim run, protect the hoop, he can do that. All those sorts of things are really what he brings to the table. So it's really for him, he doesn't have to go to necessarily a specific fit. He can kind of get in where he fits in anywhere.
How does Taylor Hendricks, seemingly being a lottery pick, elevate UCF as a basketball program?
Yeah, man, it was perfect timing going into the Big 12. If you're a recruit out there and you're somebody who's like, man, UCF doesn't put guys in the league or whatever you want to say, well, Taylor Hendricks is breaking that mold tonight. Like, this guy's not only going to be a draft pick, he's going to be a lottery pick. So if you're a guy out there who's like, man, why should I go to UCF? It's because you can follow a guy like Taylor Hendricks' footsteps and be a top draft pick if you have the skill set to do it.
All right,
Hey,
guys.
had it.
Yeah, thank BJ for stopping back by Sons of UCF Live. We miss him in these parts.
I'll see you guys soon.
All right, thank you, BJ. Thank you, Nate and Leo. All right, and Elo has had to go do some work, write up a little story,
Slacker.
perhaps. So it was good to have him be with us. And as you mentioned now, tell us about the Orlando Magic's pick at 6.
Well, quick update. So Darius Walker appears to be going 8 now to Washington, but really being picked for Indiana. So Indiana, Washington swap 7 and 8. So Darius Walker going off the board at 8 to Indiana. That makes Utah at 9, which is another destination. I think a lot of folks, Taylor Hendricks was destined for, if not Dallas 10, Orlando 11. So if you're rooting for Taylor to drop to Orlando, these are two really interesting dominoes. If he gets past the Jazz, then I think Dallas has a decision to make. And then if that's the case, then Taylor potentially there at 11. So if you're an Orlando fan who wanted Taylor there, this is a scenario that you're probably enjoying.
Probably optimistic, right, to think that he would go to the Magic at 6. But now we're in that territory where he's been most rumored. So getting a little nerve-wracking now. We thank you for being with us on Sons of UCF Live during NBA Draft Night as we count down the picks. By the way, I'm a little jealous of Anthony Black's hairstyle. That dude's got a hat right on that.
Nothing's stopping you, Trace. I mean,
yeah, well, there's a lot. I'll tell you, there's a lot of things stopping that.
There's a will, there's a way. I mean, right now I've got Leo and Nate looking at something by phone flashlight here on my screen, which is just awesome. It's these two, if they don't have like a buddy comedy out sometime next summer in theaters near you, we're doing it wrong as a production. We should make a movie starring Leo and Nate.
That's funny. As we await some of the next picks to come on, it's not long before, hey, I may see you at UCF July 1st for the Big 12 block party. You looking forward to it? You're going to be in town? You're going to get a little swag with you?
I will be there. I will maybe some swag. We'll see what we can scrounge up. But look, it's a fun day. Like, it's a day of celebration. And obviously Burger U is a legendary spot for a lot of us who go to football games. A lot of people are going to be out there. Obviously Britt's bunch and Jan and Britt are bringing some fun with them. They got some crazy ideas. Kingdom NIL is going to pitch, and obviously the Suns are happy to help out as well too. So if you're in the area, you got nothing to do. It's a Saturday, so you're driving around. Get a nice Home Depot trip planned. Maybe you're heading to Sears or whatever. Afterwards, just swing on by Burger U, hang out for an hour, hang out for a couple hours, come by, say hello. I'm sure we'll have games, prizes. I think there's a DJ, and it's a big day in the history of UCF. So it's only fitting we should all celebrate it together. So whoever can make it for a little bit, even swing on by Burger U again, July 1st, Saturday, 12 to 6. Trace, Adam, I think Leo will be out there. You'll meet the whole Suns crew. Maybe Nate. I'm not sure what his plans look like, but looks like he's saying no, he won't be there. I'm not quite sure, but you'll meet a whole bunch of people and we'll have a whole bunch of fun. So make sure you show up there.
We have, of course, the messaging that goes on between all of us during the show. Lots of boos for Darius Walker getting drafted inside poor choice Orlando. So some people not happy about that pick, which is interesting, right? That folks with a little rooting interest there.
I think obviously they thought Indiana was going to be a spot for him. So when you see the trade, you think that to a fellow conference mate last year. Elo mentioned it. Darius Walker, although winning, I think, Freshman of the Week twice to Taylor Hendricks, like 11, somehow won ACC Freshman of the Year, which didn't seem to add up mathematically. So there's probably a little bit of a little bit of a rivalry there too. Obviously, Houston's a team that UCF struggled to play overtime, so I don't think anybody here roots for Houston. And now a Big 12 conference mate. So the first Big 12 conference player drafted, I think, here tonight is Darius Walker. Fun fact.
That is an interesting fun fact. The celebration for the Big 12 is it was in Atlanta, it was in New York, and that Orlando location, August 11th, was at now defunct Ace Cafe in Orlando. Today, UCF announcing that they're going to be in Thornton Park on August 11th for their Orlando spot of the Night Nation celebration. Interesting to me, the choices that they've made on this. I don't know the rationale behind it, but our friends all across the state that would like to see them in, South Florida, real South Florida, but they will be in Orlando. And, we're just 70 days away from kickoff. It's getting closer. It still seems a ways out. Orlando Sentinel's Matt Michelle reporting today that UCF with a $900,000 payout to Kent State to come to Orlando for that game. Remember when we were the school taking the money for these games?
I do.
And now the MAC school's getting a $900,000 to come to Orlando. What we talked about last week, 35-point underdogs in an early line.
I do, Trey, and that actually is a really good segue to, speaking of times where UCF was considered maybe a bit of the football doormat. This week on the Suns UCF podcast, we were very fortunate to have.
Before you do that, do you see Leo's message? Leo's message, Hendricks to Utah is what Leo is. All right,
reporting. Leo is tipping.
I don't know that he's reporting. Utah. He's not saying where he's getting it, but he dropped it in our internal chat. So I don't know.
Let me check Shams here. Shams has nothing yet, so Leo maybe ahead of me. Shams now has it. Leo is correct. Utah with Taylor Hendricks. Let's see how this. Let's go live. Let's see the reaction. Let's hear the crowd noise. I know you guys don't have any lighting there, but curious to hear the crowd noise when this happens.
That's a bit of a rough spot. All right,
we're getting close to this pick though by Utah, right, Nate?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I said we're getting close to the Utah pick, and some reports indicating that Taylor Hendricks might be going to the Jazz.
Yeah, those are the reports. Kind of sucks going from Orlando to Utah, personally.
Tell us how you feel, Nate. Don't hold back.
Yeah, it's a good deal. He'll probably have a chance to play right away, and he fits everything they need. I mean, like I say, he's such a versatile player. He plays defensively. I mean, he can shoot. I mean, he elevates his teammate. He's a fit anywhere he goes.
Not to put you in a tough spot technically, but when we hear those chimes for the next pick, are you able to move your camera at all and show the crowd reaction?
We can try.
Or am I just disrupting everything? If you can't do it, just say no, and we'll hear everybody screaming.
I got you guys. Who do you think I am?
It's UCF Lauren. Turn the camera around. Let us see the reactions. There we go. Poor choice Orlando up Mills in Orlando. Get your wristband and help yourself to all the taps. We've been joined by Coach Witherspoon, Darius Johnson, Drew Bellani, and just recently BJ Taylor. You guys have really been working tonight. We're getting close here to a possible pick of Taylor Hendricks and maybe to the Utah Jazz.
Potentially.
What do you make of the pick, Nate and Leo? If it is in fact Utah, do you like for a fit for Taylor?
What do you think of the pick?
I think I'm going to go with what Nate said. Taylor, I could have seen him gone from 6 to 12. Any of those teams need a player like Taylor, for sure. He stretches the floor, plays a 1 through 4. I mean, the Magic, in my opinion, are going to suffer if they don't have him available at 11. But it's too late for that.
Jazz are a good young team. I mean, they're rebuilding a little bit, guys, but they're a good young team. They played really well last year. They had Walker Kessler, who I think was one of the top guys from a Rookie of the Year perspective. Colin Sexton at point guard, and they're a young up and coming team. I think Taylor comes in and adds some length and versatility. Now the Western Conference is obviously tough, but it's going to be a little bit of time. Some people pointing out there on social media though that maybe a BYU Utah Jazz back-to-back game if UCF's up there for football. So maybe a future road trip for some people out there.
It's not a bad idea for those UCF people that are going to take trips out there. But no, Taylor, with Donovan Mitchell trade package that they sent over to Cleveland, they're reaping benefits of this one for sure.
Little assignment editing on the air. So after this pick is announced, maybe you can scrounge up a player or two that can give us a little reaction, or anyone else in the building tonight.
Absolutely.
Where are we at on screen with you? Are we in commercial break waiting for this pick?
Break, Trace. If you need a Carfax, we got you. You need some Heineken, we got you. And I think this may be some sort of a loan commercial of some sort. Navy, Army, Coast Guard. Marines,
I don't know how well you guys were able to hear our conversation with Eric Lopez, but what impact do you think this pick can have on men's basketball? Is it just a blip in time, or do you think that UCF can really build upon it?
I think it matters if the coaching staff can build off of this. So they're the ones that have to execute recruiting. They have to execute an NIL. It won't be a blip in time if they do that right. I think that Taylor going top 10 is monumental regardless.
All right, we're back from a commercial break here. I think the pick probably coming soon here. I see the stage lit up.
Here it goes.
Crowd reaction. Let's get that crowd reaction here.
2023 NBA Draft. The Utah Jazz select Taylor Hendricks.
Yes, I love this guy. Why is that?
And that is the reaction, Adam, Leo, and Nate, to Utah Jazz selecting Taylor Hendricks. We're going to let you guys go, see who you can bring back for an interview, and we're going to react to that pick now. We'll talk to you in a little bit. All right. What do you think there, Adam? Utah, it is, as has been oft rumored, as a destination for Mr. Hendricks.
First off, how cool is that, Trace? How cool is it to be together with a bunch of your rowdy friends cheering on a kid as good as Taylor Hendricks, both on the court and off the court? Again, I like the fit in Utah. It's a young team kind of growing together. You know, Taylor may have some challenge getting minutes with a young team, but I think he'll have opportunities. I don't think that rotation is set there yet. I think he still has an opportunity to get in there. Obviously, a top 10 pick. Utah is going to give him a chance to get on the court and contribute a little bit. And look, I think Utah is a team that's kind of trending upward, and they're probably not a playoff team in the next year or two, but maybe he gets himself in a good situation. I wish he was in a different time zone, because it's gonna really make it challenging to watch a lot of his games. It's probably an NBA League Pass situation for a lot of us here, but again, a really cool pick, really cool to see. I think the Jazz have pretty nice uniforms too, by the way. So if you want to rock a Jazz Hendricks uniform, you might be in good spots. But if you're watching on TV, Taylor flashing off his jacket, doing a little bit of a mean mug for the camera there, and about to hug the commissioner. Which is really cool.
That is a big moment. I think they're going to sell some Utah Jazz merchandise in Central Florida. A lot of Night Nation are going to want to have some of that. So very interesting. we get to be on, and good that we were with Leo and Nate at Poor Choice Orlando for this Kingdom NIL event as they captured the reaction live to it. A big moment for UCF. Now, what can UCF do with this? So they're going to get as much promotional mileage out of it, but as we've been talking about, what can the coaching staff do with it? This could be a game changer for UCF if they can leverage this top 10 pick now of a UCF basketball player on a one and done.
Well, it starts with this, Trace. Right on screen now, Monica McNutt is interviewing Taylor, and his brother Tyler, who plays at UCF, is sitting, 2 people away from him. So it starts now with continuing to get UCF's name out there. And like Elo said, if you're Johnny Dawkins, whatever, I'm not sure where they are in the recruiting period, if you can contact recruits or not, if it's a dead period, but whatever you can do, you're DMing kids, you're calling kids, you're texting kids, and you're saying, hey, did you see Taylor last night? Hey, did you see our guy? And you're trying to kind of build to the draft that way too. So at least build through, recruiting and maybe the portal as well. So I think you got to take advantage of it. You got to capitalize on this opportunity. And Tyler's getting a chance to get the mic now too. So a current UCF player also now speaking at the draft. Who would have thought that would happen?
Yeah, and Tyler, get ready for media day. You might be asked about your brother a time or two from the media. Well, we'll see what Leo and Nate, who they're able to talk with at Poor Choice Orlando. I cut you off earlier. You were getting ready to talk about what a great guest you guys had on the podcast this week. By the way, a little bit of a different show. I missed the banter between you guys. There was a little bit of a backstory there, isn't there?
Fun fact, yes. So we record our interview with Mike Palmer, and literally at 5 seconds before it ends, Mike loses power. And we tried to record via phone. It just did not go very well. The lost tape is still out there somewhere. But while Leo and Nate chase down our next hopeful guest here, I want to play a quick clip from Mike Palmer, who is talking a little bit about the expectations that he has as a former player and what he thinks is acceptable as UCF gets to the Big 12.
I think right now we're in the best position we could possibly be to go into the Big 12. And everyone's saying, I think we can win 7 games. If we win 7 and we get to a bowl, that's huge. That's all fan talk. I'm just telling you right now, the players want to go undefeated. They want to go out and win every game. We want to go to a national championship. And is it likely our first year in the Big 12 to go to a national championship? No. But is it possible? I mean, anything's possible. We've loaded up with transfers. We've got freshmen, young players from high school that came in. I've been watching him, Coach Malzahn, and the build out of this program and watching what he's doing one step at a time each year with the recruits and what we're doing. And I feel as good as I've ever felt. I think we can, if we can stay healthy, I think a lot of really good things in the Big 12 this year. And forget 7 games. I think we can win 8, 9, 10 games. I think we can go to the conference championship. I don't buy into all this. Hey, if we can win 7, that's a huge victory. That's garbage.
Mike Palmer with the opium. Great backdrop for him, by the way. The brick wall, the helmet there, all nice. Around solid. 8, 9, 10 conference championship. Gotta love a varsity night talking up the program. I believe Leo and Nate have our next guest live from Choice Orlando. They are joined by Ithel Horton, who's going to talk about his now former teammate Taylor Hendricks, who's now a part of the Utah Jazz. Guys?
We're here with Ithel Horton, man. How excited are you for him to be going 9th? He's taking by the Utah Jazz, man. How excited are you for him?
No, man, I'm very excited for him because, like you said, we all know the work that he put in. From the day he stepped foot on campus. So everything he's getting, he worked for it and he earned it. So that's always great to see, man. It's very inspiring for players like us that want to get to where he's at someday.
What was it like to be his teammate?
I mean, it was very, very easy. He was very mature, coming in as a freshman. Obviously he had his hiccups here and there, but he was a very quick learner on the spot. And he did what he was told and he just kept working hard, and everything just kind of fell into place for him, so I'm happy for him.
Ithel, obviously with Taylor going top 10, where do you see the basketball program going from here on out? That's a huge step for the program. So
it's definitely a huge step for the program. The only way is up. You know what I'm saying? UCF there's nothing that UCF really can't do, and you just, like I said, it's just building blocks. Going to a new conference is going to be tough, but like I say, bring the right mindset, bring the right attitude. You can only you can only reap great benefits and great rewards. So.
With the incoming transfers, have you had time to bond with them, get to know them? And what can you tell us about those guys?
Yeah, it's been kind of guys just getting here on campus. We've been bonding a lot through the pickup, getting in the gym with our groups. But like I said, guys are just getting shuffling in and out of campus. So, we're going to try and get some time, find some time to, do some team events, maybe go bowling or like something like this. This was great for us, to bond. So I guess it takes time. Those things take time. So.
One more, guys, for Ithel. Just how proud is he to be a Knight on a night like this?
How proud are you to be a Knight on a night like this?
I mean, shoot. Go Knights, man. Go Knights. You see, I don't know if you guys see it, but, there's a lot of love in here, a lot of good energy, a lot of good vibes. So I think it's a great night to be a Knight. Sure, going to be a lot of great nights to be a Knight.
All right, Leo and Nate with Ithel Horton. Guys, we're going to jump into the mailbag, but if you round up some more guests, we'll go back to you. Thanks to Ithel for joining us. Ithel Horton going to be a key part for the Knights in 23-24, Adam.
That's a big comeback. He had obviously put his name in to test the waters in the draft and decided to come back to UCF. Obviously a lethal outside shooter. In today's game, you need folks who can shoot on the outside. We saw what happens when Ithel gets hot. He can go on a streak and make a bunch of shots for us. So especially with a young team kind of gelling together, the veteran leadership, I mean, he's going to be looked at to carry a lot of that this year, along with Darius Johnson and CJ Walker. So excited to have him back for us.
I missed it. I didn't hear it clearly. When the pick was announced, was it UCF? Was it Central Florida? What was the
I thought he said UCF. Actually, I honestly didn't hear it.
I see it on screen at
UCF
now. So, that branding's taking hold finally. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Right?
At least he hit it with the Golden Knights. That's all you can ask for, Chris.
Well, not sure if the guys are going to grab someone else before we sign off, but you can't do a show like this without Brian W. Peterson being a part of it.
It's back by popular demand. It's that time again. Time to open the Brian W. Peterson Sons of UCF mailbag.
Every time, Chris.
That's good stuff. Michael, emptiness 4. How does one supplant Brian W. Peterson as the namesake for the mailbag? I love that. I love that question.
What's funny is the story has now gotten lost on why this is. So Brian submitted a question one week, a video question. I then got on the show and said we had no video questions. And Brian literally was like, I literally sent you a question. So as an apology to Brian, I renamed the mailbag after him. I've been too lazy to change the graphic. And henceforth, it's the Brian W. Peterson Sons UCF mailbag. So emptiness, I need to forget something or do something to irreparably harm you. And then we'll have the emptiness headline segment for all I know.
Oh, my goodness. That's good stuff. Brian W. Peterson. What do we see Gus wear first, gold or canaveral blue sweater vest?
I mean, he's over sweater vest, right? I don't think he's worn one yet at UCF. I think he went with quarter zips and stuff like that in cold games. I think he's going to lean into that Citronaut branding. I think you've seen Gus wearing much more Citronaut stuff with hats, with shirts. I think he leans into the Citronaut. I won't be surprised if you don't see him with a half Citronaut, half Kingdom NIL sweater vest next time.
Yeah, I think that's a good call on your part. A little more Kingdom NIL. Our buddy Dolly Drama, who I'm going to reach out to be a part of my campaign for any office that I'm running.
What role do you think Dolly Drama plays in your campaign?
Marketing.
Campaign manager, senior advisor.
In the inner circle. Okay. Marketing, a senior advisor, social media guru. I don't know where he is on all of his policies, but we do talk as part of the Suns Plus package. We DM back and forth. Dolly Drama with a hard hitting on a night like this. Okay, on a night like this with such enthusiasm. Dawkins loses, NLI commits Joey Hart to the Blue Blood Kentucky and Lithuanian national player Petras Patagamas to the BYU Cougars without consequence. Dolly throws in. Resource Twitter loves to talk about him having to play Moneyball. Can he at least play hardball, or we just placeholder you? It's a tough question. I know why UCF doesn't want to play hardball with these guys, but I hate that they just let them go too.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a tough one, right? Because you don't want to come up looking like the jerk, right? But there's also an element of saying, hey, we've got to protect ourselves. By the way, the Magic pick Jet Howard, guard out of Michigan at the 11th pick. So 2 guards. I believe Jet Howard is Juwan Howard's son, if I have that one correctly, Trace. Here's where I'm a little bit flustered with this one is the Joey Hart situation seemed like there was an excuse given or a reason given, and now there's questions about whether or not that reason was actually accurate. And is it official that Petrus has gotten out of the letter of intent? I know UCF hasn't commented on that, but
I don't
know
UCF hasn't
where
really
we stand
said
on
anything
that.
about any of it, and I don't know. It'd be a good question for our enterprising reporters to maybe grab Coach Witherspoon tonight and say what's going on.
There's really two things with this too. One, I mean, you got to give Johnny some credit. He's obviously finding talent that everybody else wants to come back and steal it from us. So at least he's doing a good job with recruiting. But two, what sucks about this is the time and resources UCF spent to recruit these kids, they didn't spend on somebody else, right? They didn't spend going after another guard, another big man. So it's tough to, it's tough to spend the resources, and all of a sudden now these guys don't even show up on campus.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that is true. But tough question, and I know Dolly was watching us earlier. I'd love to know what he'd want UCF to do.
But to be fair, it's also the knock on Johnny Dawkins. We say this every game. Let's show some more motion. Get up and yell at the team. Throw the clipboard. It's the knock on Johnny Dawkins is that people want more fire, more brimstone out of him. And this is another example where it appears that there's more of a passive stance, which is kind of what people assume is the MO for Johnny Dawkins.
Yeah. Yeah. At UCF, tough one here. UCF legend Mackenzie Milton has always been vocal about his faith. If you follow him on social media, you know that. He's also thrown some politics into the mix, and some of UCF's very vocal Twitter mafia not reacting well to some of his most recent comments. So the question from Hugh is, could someone of KZ's status alienate himself from those who disagree with his politics, or no, legends can do no wrong? Can I just say that, boy, do people overreact on social media? The understatement of the year. Why do we got to attack the guy? You don't have to agree with him. Goodness knows. I read a lot of what you guys post, and what is the point of John with Mackenzie Milton? I don't know. He's still a UCF legend, no matter what you think of his politics or his other opinions, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think today's day and age, Trace, I think you absolutely can alienate yourself from whatever group it is that you are a part of, right? So I think that certainly is a possibility, or it'll be sort of a footnote in some respects, right? Well, yeah, Mackenzie, well, he's got that thing. I mean, it's not comparing these two things. I know they're different, so please don't confuse me. But what's the first thing we think of when we think about Bruce Miller now, right? Like, he was a great player at UCF, but then there's some stuff, and I know it's not exactly the apples to apples, although we did have a little incident recently with the senator from California. But I think you absolutely can alienate yourself and sort of be footnote in some respects. But look, we're in a spot you can't have normal discourse on anything these days, Trace. And agree with Mackenzie or not, whether you think the information he posted was accurate or not, a lot of that's open to interpretation. I assume at some point, bygones will be bygones in some respects. But if you read that and you said that's not my quarterback, I mean, that's your choice, right? And I think, unfortunately, everyone's making choices like that about every walk of their life. Friends,
that is true.
That
is true. I will just say this: he's entitled to his opinion, but I'm not sure for where he wants to go in his coaching career that putting himself as a lightning rod on social media is the best choice. For all we make fun of Gus Malzahn, he certainly doesn't say anything controversial in his social media posts. At Lonely Bee UCF, which UCF team, interesting question the way he phrases it, will be the first to win a conference championship next year? I would not predict any UCF team to win a conference championship next year.
I think we had this once before. I think I said tennis or golf. I mean, again, I don't think it's some of the major sports. I think
rowing.
The surf team, I think, had a good weekend. Maybe it's going to be a sport along those lines.
At Armored_up on Timo's presentation on the tourist development tax, he said Big 12 averages 3.9 million viewers for games on Fox ABC. Will UCF see a single game with viewership above 3 million? Yes. Oklahoma. That one's to me a given. Of course, some of this depends on time slot and all that, but I would think Oklahoma would be the best chance.
Yeah, I'll go yes. I think Oklahoma is an opportunity. I think even that maybe that first game against Kansas State, could draw some numbers. K-State has a pretty good fan base, and first time in the Big 12, maybe more UCF fans will watch. So if that gets a good time slot, I think that's an option too.
At Zeebel's UCF, favorite non-UCF Big 12 head football coach and why? And I like that he supplied all the names of the coach. You got to like Mike Gundy from Oklahoma State just because he's a colorful character. But as a coach, I really like Baylor's coach, Dave Aranda.
Yeah, Gundy kind of irritates me. He's a little bit annoying in some respects. I'm going to go with Joey McGuire of Texas Tech, a former high school coach, toiled in high school for a bunch of years, went to Tech after some bad years for Tech. Has done a nice job turning that program around. Seems like a nice guy. Everyone seems to like him in the industry. So for no other reason, the fact that I didn't want to pick Mike Gundy, give me Joey McGuire. And that Holgerson guy is crazy too, by the way. And I can't pick anybody from Cincy.
He's a good soundbite. Yeah, during the week leading up to the game, you go, I don't know what we're going to do. We're terrible. That's the sort of thing he might say. So it's entertaining, right?
Well, actually, congrats to our friends at the Scott and Holman podcast, the Houston Cougar podcast on the 1012 Network. They actually had Dana Holgerson on the show for an extended interview. Yeah. So if you are a fan or wanted to learn more stuff, check out Scott and Holman. Really cool, cool conversation with Coach Dana Holgerson.
Yeah, they do a good job on that show. At Mr. Matt Dolan, will the UCF 2024 football season tickets sell out before or after June 19th, 2024? Before. Going to be a lot of momentum going into the following season based on a good first season in the Big 12. I think they sell out rapidly.
Yeah, I think it goes before.
At Don't Fuck Up 23.
What was that?
That was with NIL being something every school, including UCF, is using to help. When's the best time to eat ice cream? I love the mashup that Don't likes to throw
Falk is a very good follow, someone who's very good to talk to. Fun fact, Trace, I don't really like ice cream.
Whoa. Has this been discussed in Sons of UCF world?
Probably. Before? I mean, look, I'm not anti-ice cream, but if you said, hey, Adam, here are 3 dessert options, a cookie, a cake, and ice cream, I don't pick the ice cream.
Frozen yogurt, same category or different?
Yeah, it doesn't even count.
Gelato?
No, same category.
Shaved ice, popsicles?
No, that's a waste of time. Are you kidding me? Like I'm eating like some bacteria-filled ice with green color on it. I'm not doing that. I don't trust that snow cone machine, and none of you should either, by the way. All of you out there with kids, the Tiki's truck comes by, and there's and the cone of stuff. Yeah, you don't know what's on that thing, friend.
That has never been cleaned ever.
Never.
At Strength of Spear, are you all believing the rat poison praise from all the college football preseason conference lists? No, I am not Mike Palmer. I am not buying into all of it.
Yeah, look, it's cool to see our name up there, but make what you will of these polls. They're typically never correct. They're asking us to fill a poll out. That tells you how much some of these media polls can be taken seriously.
Another one from Strength of Spirit. What's one thing each of you will miss from the American? Thinking, efforting. The Mike Oresco media day where he reads from a stack of papers on a Zoom.
I have a maybe, and I don't know the answer, Trace. Maybe you have the answer, and it'll change my answer. But I haven't studied the Big 12 TV deal as much. But with the American, you could go to ESPN Plus and get pretty much every UCF sport you needed on ESPN Plus. I don't know if that'll still hold true with the American for some of the smaller sports, i.e., rowing, a tennis, right? And obviously baseball and softball. Like, can you still find those sports on ESPN Plus as part of the Big 12 deal? I don't know.
That is yes. I think so.
And then the football stuff, right? So at this point, today's world, if a game is on ESPN and it's running long, you go to the app and you catch up, right? Are we going to like Fox Sports Go? Like, how do I find my Fox Sports game if the game before is running long? So maybe the television stuff, I don't really know.
And there's going to be no way to properly plan for that a game will run long and now suddenly you need to find it on an app. That will be a big mess. I liked that comment there, cheap tickets. I'd also say some of the road trips, because, you can have fun in a place like New Orleans, for example, and Memphis. And now you're talking about, as we've discussed, Lubbock and Lawrence, Kansas and the like. So some of the cities of the road destinations in the American, I'd say, will be something a lot of fans will miss. Plus some of the ease of travel that goes along with that. JP Gilbert, we began with him. What was the correct answer, by the way? 8.5 was what he said.
Take the over. It was 9.
The over. I had the over on that.
You did have
JP Gilbert, what's the greatest lie told on the Suns podcast? He says he's torn between the guy who said he flipped over Dante, I remember that, and the coach who said he met the ref that screwed UCF and said it's an SEC thing. See, I don't know why he thinks these are lies. Of course, JP Gilbert also has conspiracy theories about just about everything.
So We talked to Mike Palmer about the player he's referring to is Mike Osuna, who allegedly flipped Dante in practice. And no one's corroborated it yet. So no one was like, yes, I saw that. Yes, I remember it. However, everybody has said, oh, I could see that happening. I have had no independent verification that Paul Lounsbury was just strolling through South Carolina and bumped into the back judge and remembered his face and was like, let's talk about that. So my likelihood is the referee thing is probably a little bit maybe embellished, but I think there's enough people who say Osuna's crazy that's possible it could have happened. But the odds of him like walking down Main Street to go get a Starbucks and being like, it's the back judge, and the cornering him in the, and over the barista counter, I don't know if I see that one.
Good stories though. And again, we talked about it earlier. If you haven't listened or watched, you have the whole interview with Mike Palmer now up on the Sons of UCF YouTube channel. Very entertaining guy. I don't know about 8, 9, 10 wins, but I liked a lot of his stories. It's great to talk to these guys. You can tell the love and appreciation they have for the program, and so many of the interviews that you've done that we talk about from where UCF was. I mean, we've talked about it, July 1st. That is a big monumental day in UCF football and sports history. That's a big jump for UCF from where it once was.
Yeah, Mike Palmer is a unique individual. He's on the board of the Kingdom NIL, right? So, he's one of those individuals who gave his all on the field. But in this time away from UCF, he's been a donor, he's been a booster, and now he's involved in the Kingdom NIL. And you could just kind of hear, I felt like if he pricked his finger, black and gold was going to come out, not red, because you could tell how much being a part of UCF meant to him. He's got kids now. He wants to go to UCF, right? So you love to see that legacy. And that's how universities are built. And that's how traditions are built. That's how our schools are built. He mentioned it on the podcast. Some schools have 100-year head start on us tradition-wise, but it's folks like Mike Palmer are helping to give back and build those traditions and create legacies that are going to help get UCF to that point 15, 20, 25 years from now too. So a good player on the field and probably even a better night off the field.
It was interesting what he was saying about NIL as well. I think a question came to him is, how does UCF stack up in that? And he said, hey, we're behind. A lot of that's, many decades of fandom on the part of these programs in the Big 12. You saw Oklahoma State with, what was it, a $50 million gift from the Pickens Foundation this week. I mean, that's a lot of money. And how much money
Boone Pickens has been dead for 4 years, and he's still given $50 million.
He's dead, and he's still the biggest donor in the Big 12.
Yeah. The dead guy has given more money than any one gift at UCF by like 10
live body the UCF has. I can't. I'm not watching the green room, so I don't know what Nate and Leo are up to. I'd like to hit them before we leave. There was a late.
I've seen Nate in this pose for the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe. I have them muted right now because.
All right. Well, let me ask one more question, and then we'll go. Okay.
It's all right, guys. The article for Fan Nation on Orlando Magic taking care.
Oh my goodness! Hey, that Ben McCabe article ever come out? We've only been talking about it for a month.
So, not to get sappy, it's coming out on Sunday, I believe. And that's 9 years since my mom passed away, which means a lot. I think it's the best story I've written. So,
and I'm looking forward to reading the final version.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, let's get a wrap up from you guys. What are your big takeaways from the night and the selection of Taylor Hendricks by the Utah Jazz? First, you, Nate.
Biggest takeaways. Anyways, yeah, I mean, he's a great kid, great prospect, and I think wherever he went, he's going to be set up to succeed. I mean, Utah surpassed expectations last season. They have 2 more picks, and I think, it can be a huge day for the program. Like, Johnny Dawkins can, look, I developed a top 10 pick. Like, this can be you if you come here. We're going to play in the Big 12, the best basketball conference in the nation, arguably. So, yeah, I think it'd be a huge day for UCF, and obviously congratulations to Taylor Hendricks. I mean, his hard work has paid off.
I mean, biggest takeaway for me is I can feel it in the air in here in this environment. This is going to change UCF's future when it comes to basketball. You can kind of feel the Kingdom NIL kind of get behind this NIL movement with recruiting, having his recruiting efforts, as well as to go along with Taylor Hendricks' draft pick to the Utah Jazz. It's monumental for UCF. As far as Taylor Hendricks is concerned, I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he ended up with the Jazz. I think he's going to do great things there or in any way he goes, really. So I'm really excited to see him, and I think I have a new favorite NBA player. So I'm really excited.
Nate and Leo, thank you for the great work you did all night from Poor Choice Orlando. Great live shots, great interviews. UCF past stars, coaches, current players, Drew Bellotti as well. We thank you. And, why don't you guys get yourself something to drink? Put it on UCF Mike's tab. Just tell Drew Bellotti UCF Mike's picking up the tab.
I wish I could have heard what you just said, but
it was excellent. It's the best thing I've ever said, Nate. Guys, thank you. See you.
Seriously, if those two don't have a buddy cop movie over the summer, I don't know what we're doing, Chase.
What's our spin-off show that we can do with them?
I think we just send Leo and Nate to random bars every Thursday night.
Every Thursday night, just live
Thursday,
from
just
somewhere.
A new bar in Orlando. They're closing by the second, though. I saw Saddle Up closed. I saw Ace Cafe closed. So they may need to hurry and get to all the bars they can in Orlando.
A lot of UCF fans have spent a night or two staggering around that Saddle Up club. One final, it was a late ad from Robert, 2 letters, 2 words, asked if he could ask a question, and he wanted to know, of the announced football transfers to UCF to this point, who do you think has the most potential to make an impact on wins or losses? And I said, it seems like this question needs to come to us a little bit earlier so we can do some research. So he said, just give me the Mike answer then. I'll tell you the Mike answer. With the booms this week and then the D commits, Mike has never been more right. Who's putting on the uniform, who's playing, and you got to get used to it. You're going to see a guy for 1 year and then he may go somewhere else. I say that sincerely.
Oh, it's so tough. I want to get excited every time I get a big recruit. And I want to be excited about it and I want to celebrate it. But there's always that thing in the back of my mind that just goes, will this guy ever actually wear a UCF uniform? And that's not a knock. I mean, look, you've got opportunities. You should explore them. I don't have any issues with that per se, but every time someone commits and we all go crazy, that negative part of me is like, I wonder how long this is going to last. And we saw what that looks like here, unfortunately. But, to one spot, gets back, and before you know, we fill it with somebody else, and we can start a whole Twitter thread of all the guys who committed at some point that went someplace else, and you've probably forgotten their names since. So let's root for the guys who are on the field. I think a lot of good, talented players. I think there's still a lot of optimism that the recruiting class will still be pretty strong, and you never know who's going to drop in your lap at the end too, right? So still a long ways to go, but that's why commits this early. It's tough to get excited about it with this much runway between now and signing day.
Well, and finally, congratulations. We talked about UCF Surf earlier. Jonathan Wallhauser with UCF Surf Team, national longboard champion during the National Scholastic Surfing Association finals. I'm interested in this surfing. I know our buddy, wants us to maybe bring somebody on from surf. Maybe that's something we do in the weeks ahead, just 70 days out from the start of the UCF football season.
Our
Leo
good
and
friend,
Nate.
UCF Jeb Shred, I think, is there. I'm also just glad UCF Mike's not here because I feel like a longboard would have sent him over a lot of inappropriate jokes.
That is true. Leo and Nate just rocked it tonight. Ben Witherspoon with the coaching staff, Darius Johnson and Ithel Horton, BJ Taylor, the legend, and Drew Bellotti from Poor Choice Orlando. Plus, we got the announcement live from the Kingdom NIL event. Not bad for an extended edition of Sons of UCF Live.
Yeah, Trayson, we should a big thanks to Poor Choice and Drew Bellotti for letting us come out there. Kingdom NIL for hosting us as well too. So if you haven't been to Poor Choice, check that out. If you're not a part of the Kingdom, hit that website up, see what options make sense for you. But a big thanks to Drew and Poor Choice, SJ, and everybody at the Kingdom for letting us hang out with them tonight.
And congratulations to Taylor Hendricks. Been a pleasure covering you and wish you all the best with the Utah Jazz. For Adam, I'm Trace. Go Knights!
Charge on.
This is Taylor Hendricks, and thank you for watching the Sons of UCF.
I had to do it. We did it live.